It's only worth it if you work for it. It's only worth it if you work for it. I won't stop till they hear me now. I won't stop till I wear the crown.
Hello and welcome back to another video. So as we all know, the car blew yet another head gasket. So I don't think I showed you this before, but it blew between cylinder 5 and 6 yet again. But it also seems like the other cylinders all got a bit hot. So this is the second head gasket to take a crap on us, but that's not because we're pushing the engine too hard. We're only tickling the potential of this thing. I'm pretty sure of that. So the last time it blew a head gasket, I did some upgrades to combat this issue. So we already have a new water pump on there, and then this time I'm gonna go with a bit of a better quality head gasket, and then also a 1.5mm spacer to lower the compression just a bit. Lower compression is just a bit better for boost. So I ordered the Victor Heinz head gasket as well as the spacer from Cape Town, so I'm just waiting for that to come in. It should be here today or maybe tomorrow. And then another thing I'm going to get is some new head bolts. So everybody says go ARP, but they are stupid expensive. So I'm going to show you what I'll be using instead of ARP head bolts. And then I also got some new valve stem seals. So we are also going to do the valves. Started getting all the tools together to do that. So yeah, a bit later on in the video we'll get to that when all the parts are here. But like I said, it's not that we are pushing the engine to its limits, it's just mostly driver error. But the first head gasket blew because we had a leaking radiator and I didn't notice it. This comment is pretty accurate and kind of sums up what's going on here. Now in this video I'm kind of gonna explain to you what my plan is over the next couple of weeks. And this is just the kick in the butt I needed to get started. So let's step over there and then I'll try to explain and show you what the plan is. So the time has finally come to address the elephant in the room, and that is this hole over here. Believe me when I say I saw everyone's comments on this. Get a scoop, make a plan with the hole, everything like that. But back in my mind, I knew that this day was coming. So I came in here last night and started taking some things apart and doing some planning. And yeah, today we're going to get started on that. Back when I started all of this, getting the old 1.8 liter perfectly running engine out of the car and getting this one to fit, I always kept in the back of my mind that what if I need to change the engine back? But now that we have the new engine in the car and all the paperwork up to date, I can finally make some more permanent changes. And for that we need to go all the way back to step number 1, and that is building the engine mounts. Not the best looking engine mounts, but they held up pretty good up until this point. But yeah, we'll need to change them. And then when you look down here, this thing is still in the way. So I'm going to make a plan, or trying to make a plan, to cut this piece out and then reinforce it so that it's still pretty strong, because the one control arm connects up over there. So yeah, this is a pretty important part, and I think if I just cut it and leave it like that, something's going to go wrong. I did some very accurate measuring of how much the engine needs to go down, and then I also started removing stuff over here so that I can also move the engine back a bit, even if it's only like 2 centimeters or whatever. But as you can see over here, the first problem we're going to have is this oil filter housing. But yes, like I said, this thing is never going to have the 1.8 liter engine again, so let's get this one to fit perfect and we'll have a real sleeper. Another thing we're going to look into is the car's wiring, because that was just a connect and go situation. And then also, while I have you guys over here, this is the water hose that goes on the back of the head, then goes into the car, out over there and into the bottle. But I got this comment that says you can use the engine drain, I think is this one over here, and then connect it up to the radiator, and then you should get some heat out from the back of the engine. So what do you guys think about that? I think I need to do that, because these long inline 6 engines have a tendency to have some extra heat at the back. So that's another thing I want to look into. And then yeah, pretty much if you move the engine at all, I'll have to redo the exhaust. I'll have to redo the prop shaft, make that a bit shorter again. I'll have to make a plan with the gearbox mount, and then I'll also have to modify the gear shifter bracket once again. And then also one more thing, when you look over here, I also really want to use this time to get the old cluster back in there. We have a plan to get it to work. So yeah, really have a lot of work ahead of us, but I've done everything before. I'm sure I can do it again. Everything up until this point was pretty much experimental to see if it'll work. And boy, oh boy, does it work. While we wait on those parts, I'm gonna go ahead and start removing everything that I can, start cleaning up some things, and yeah, do some planning. And then as I go along, I will show you guys the progress. So let's get started. Alright, so taking things apart is the easy part. I have everything laid out over there. I'm going to take that outside just in a moment and get everything cleaned up. Draining the oil, got the oil return and feed off there, got the lights, everything off. I'm removing this because I want to make new brackets for the car so that the radiator and intercooler can sit on that. So I'm going to be changing all of this. And then another thing is, because I removed the crash bar that runs across the car, I don't have anywhere to tow the car or like to connect a tow hook to it. So that's another thing I'm going to have to look into, because the car is pretty unreliable and it needs to get towed every once in a while. So we used to just take the rope and put it around over here, the once or twice that we had to tow it. And then with that support or whatever, I'm still thinking about how I'm going to do it. But I also want to make a point in the middle of the car like it used to have, where you can jack it up. So that's just pretty convenient and nice to have. I'm thinking about building an A-arm or A-frame, whatever you call it, so that you can tow this car with another car, and then you don't need a trailer or a rope. But yeah, for now, I'm going to take all of this outside, get it cleaned up, and then we'll start getting started on the inside. Getting the old dash in there will be pretty quick, and then removing all the wiring so that one day in the near future we'll do that all over again. This time much better than the first time, because like it is now, I would have never taken the car on a road trip. It was just too unreliable, and yeah, even some of the water hoses was starting to rub through on some places. So yeah, everything needs to be looked at, and yeah, I just want to get the car more reliable than it was. Everything worked, but reliability was an issue. So everything we do now is to get it more reliable and just do everything better. So let's get started on getting those things outside, getting them cleaned up. I'm also using a new product that I might be selling soon. Maybe some of you guys will also like the product. So yeah, let's get started on that. Feed and return lines came out looking almost brand new. They were just caked in oil. When we get the head back on the car and get the engine out, I will push the car outside and clean up the whole engine bay and make that look better again. But for now, I think I'm going to start off by removing all the wires. I think I'm just going to cut everything. Don't think I'm going to show much of that. And then once we rewire and reinstall everything, I will show you guys more on that. Alright, so I know these videos aren't the most interesting, and believe me, I would also much rather be out burning off some tires. But here's a little before of when I started taking things apart on the car, and then this is what the car looks like now. So we got everything out of the way that needs to be out of the way and deleted if it's not needed. And then I also went ahead and removed all the wiring, and then I started on the inside. I'll get a light in here just now. Before I get that cluster in, there's a couple of things I need to do to it. We're hoping that if we give the cluster or the car's original ECU its own crank sensor, that we can get the old cluster to work. And I also picked up a temperature sensor so that we can use the temperature sensor on the cluster, which I think would be pretty cool. Okay, so let's see here. I'm gonna need these. This video was just to basically go over the plans that I have for the car and to improve upon everything that I did. Not everything, but like the big stuff I did at the beginning of everything. I have a tendency to rush things and just want to get stuff done, and I want to stop with that and just show you guys more of kind of what's going on. Hopefully the next video will be a bit more eventful. But I think I'm gonna end this video off here because I kind of want to get my attention to get the head back on the car, but I still don't have the head gasket, but it should be up pretty soon, I'm hoping. And then yeah, I'll do the cluster along with the wiring, I guess, in a later video. Whew, did I do this? Anyway, thank you guys for watching, and I'll see you in the next one.